Good morning, viewers. After nearly 10 months of preparation, I can finally share the results of not just my work, but also the efforts of several others involved in this project. A project that combines two masterpieces, one created by man and the other by Mother Nature herself. We will cover every stage, from concept and intensive work, through an installation with unexpected challenges and changes, to the final result where an extraordinary animal gets a new home. See for yourselves how it was. The very idea for this project was born in my mind back in December 2024, and considering that people can have truly amazing things in their homes, like terrariums, vivariums and other tanks where animals live, I thought that since I have some space in my living room, I would like to put something cool there in the form of a beautiful, large bioactive terrarium. Something's rattling behind me here, and for that I needed two components. First, the terrarium, and second, an inhabitant. I quickly knew what I wanted, and in February 2025 I got one of the most beautiful snakes in my opinion, the emerald tree boa Corallus caninus. I also released a whole video about this snake, about how I picked it up, registered it, got to know it, and the entire process is available on the channel. I'll add a link here. One part was done, only the terrarium remained. In my projects, I prefer to simply visualize my goals. So I took a notebook, a fine liner, some markers, and just started drawing. There were a few of these drawings, and in the end, I chose one that met my expectations. The project was to build a 100x 50x 120 cm terrarium for a corner with glass on the front and one side and the other walls enclosed. Use a bioactive substrate at the bottom and ensure the terrarium has misting and temperature control systems. I ran into another problem. Who can make a terrarium for me? Because when it comes to this kind of work, I'm all thumbs. I wouldn't be able to make such a terrarium myself. I started looking and found the Quality Bow Profile and Magda, who managed everything better than I imagined. After I sent my super awesome drawings to Magda, settled all the dimensions and elements of the terrarium, and of course agreed on the final price, which was about 8,000–9,000 gross for the whole project, Magda got to work and all I had to do was wait for an updates. The update came at the end of March this year that the terrarium was ready. When I saw the photos I said, wow, that's awesome, that's so cool. And since I had a wooden metal cabinet perfectly prepared for that terrarium, I thought, this is going to be awesome. Plus there are some metal lizards hanging on the wall next to it. It's going to look great, let's ship it. I waited a long time for the final product. I ordered in December and only got the photos and shipping arranged in March. It was dictated by the fact that there were delicate plants inside, and because of the low temperatures, it just couldn't be shipped earlier. But it worked out. In March, the terrarium was shipped. I picked it up. It was this huge, heavy 100-kilo package that I had to carry up here to the apartment. And after unpacking, it turned out that we had a bit of a problem. The whole video of unpacking this package is also available on my channel, and you can see for yourself what it looked like in, let's call it real time, and what my reaction was to what happened. What happened? The bottom cracked. Oh no, I've got bad news. What is it? No. The bottom has bad news. That's bad. Unfortunately, it looks like one of the rubber gaskets just put too much pressure on the bottom glass and the terrarium broke. And it broke so badly that it couldn't be used anymore. The unpacking took place on April 9th, and I only sent Magda 2 short messages before we connected on Messenger. We discussed the whole thing calmly, and since it wasn't her fault or mine, I didn't expect any huge compensation, at least not from her, if anything from the courier company, which just messed up. And here I really have to thank Magda, because the final decision was that I would get exactly the same terrarium again for free, with exactly the same dimensions and exactly the same equipment, only the delivery time would be another 3 months. So, Marysia, because that's the name of my boa, will be without a home for another 3 months. Given the situation, I chose not to panic and decided to wait. The question remains. What should I do with this big unused chunk, meaning the original damaged terrarium? It seems to me that the only right answer is to fix it and use it. and that's exactly what we'll do. During Magda's visit here, when we were installing the new terrarium, we managed to secure the bottom of this terrarium around the edges in such a way that it's ready for a thorough repair. The repair shouldn't be difficult and will involve removing all the sharp pieces of glass left after the breakage, as well as, of course, the remaining expanded clay and water, and then sealing the terrarium with resin. Then it can be rearranged, replanted and revived. Where will the terrarium go? I don't know yet, but if I find out, I'll definitely tell you about it. I feel like I'm rhyming. So I waited, and finally on July 8th, another huge package arrived for me, and this time it was personally checked by Magda. Fortunately, everything was in place this time. That way, I ended up with this. An undamaged, elegant, fully functional terrarium with a misting system, lighting system, temperature control system, live plants, and anything else you could wish for. We've got some tillandsias here, we've got some other plants that I don't really know, so I can't tell you, but we've also got a bromeliad. And we've got a bioactive substrate, which I enriched a bit and added, among other things, some sphagnum moss, and now it's beautifully moist. Besides that, of course, we've got a structural background at the back and this root, which I also added. It wasn't here at the very beginning. And I think it's the perfect place for Marysia to rest. Up there, I specifically opened the lid, and let me show you what the terrarium looks like from above. But for that, I need my micro ladder. From above, it looks like this, so we have the whole temperature control system, lighting control. We also have the entire misting control system, including a timer switch, some wiring, a pump, and so on and so forth. There are no miracles here, but it looks very elegant, and when we close the lid, none of these elements are visible from below because there's a metal grate here. And this metal grate also protects the lamp, so even if the animal gets close to it, there's no chance it will fall onto it. As you can see, the terrarium is beautifully made, and I have no regrets about spending money on this project. It's truly a masterpiece. So after half a year, I already had both parts of the puzzle ready. I had a beautiful terrarium and I had a beautiful snake, but I decided to wait a bit longer with the move, mainly to give the plants some more time to properly take root, adapt, and to make some changes I wanted to introduce in the terrarium. Even if I had left the terrarium as it was, it would have still looked elegant, but I couldn't resist rearranging and adding a few harmless elements to complete the setup. I kept in mind not to add too much to avoid messiness, so I started with small amounts of sphagnum and soil in the substrate and planted a few plants. Originally, there were no plants in the substrate, so I decided to fill up that space a bit. I planted 5 at first, but removed the nidospium because it didn't fit the setup and I didn't like its look. I left a small Phytonia, Epipremnum pilea and Syndapsus. I added a small Mopani root and covered everything with dry and mango leaves, which smell amazing. However, keeping in mind that these leaves can rot, I also introduced small subtenants in the form of springtails, isopods and millipedes, which will help keep the terrarium clean. Unless Marysia poops, then it will just have to be cleaned up by hand. This way I already had a fully arranged tank ready for Marysia. And finally, today, September 20th, as I'm recording this video, it's time to finalize the project, which means introducing the new resident. There's only one thing left to do. Alright, Marysia, quick hand disinfection. Now let's see what we have here. Got stuck. Hi Marysia, how's life? Okay, what a pretzel. Hilarious. And now the time has finally come for what has to happen, which is this wonder. Yes, it's going to its new home. Since it's not that late yet, I suspect Marysia is still sleeping. Oh, Christina woke up. Well, of course. Hey there, we're waking up. Just don't eat me. What? No. Don't eat me. Look, look, look. Your new home is really cool. How beautiful. Better than a stick, right? It's so plastic. This view, I have to say.
This is amazing.
That's all from me. I'm fascinated by this terrarium and Corallus caninus, which is one of the most amazing, beautiful, and hypnotizing species of snakes in the whole world. The alternative green constrictor would of course be the green python, which is Morelia viridis, but a boa is a boa. At the very end, please let me know in the comments what you think about this snake, about this terrarium, about what could go wrong or what might not go wrong. One thing I suspect might go wrong is where this snake will choose to sit. Since they like to climb, I'm a bit worried that it will settle on the sprayers and bend them, but we'll see, time will tell.